Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Music Lab podcast. My name is Dogg, and I'm so excited to be back with all of you for another episode of the podcast. We have today Mr. Drew Beskin. How are you, Mr. Drew?
Very good. How are you doing today?
I am doing
This
lovely.
evening. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us. That helps the bands and artists like Mr. Drew here. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR, outfitters.com. Don't just wear, RAR. So, Mr. Drew Beskin, welcome to the podcast. You have blessed us with bands that you've managed already. We've gotten to meet Spencer Thomas. We've gotten to meet Hefner. We've gotten to meet Elijah Johnson, well, Taylor from Hefner. And now we get to meet you. How you feeling tonight, my friend?
I'm feeling great. I'm very happy to be here, and those are three very tough acts to follow.
All different personalities and wonderful in their own way, correct?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. My children.
So you are currently in Athens, Georgia, born in Atlanta, correct?
Yes, sir.
So 10 years in Athens, and we talked about that before. When I say that to you, how do you feel about that?
Yeah. You know, my relationship with Athens. I grew up in Atlanta. All my friends went to school here. I chose to go. I went to Indiana, which was kind of didn't know anyone there, and I kind of did that on purpose because I knew all my friends were in Athens, and all my friends had made up until that point. I knew where they'd be, or for the most part, but I knew where they would be, and I knew what most of my other friends would be and stuff. And I wanted to try and do my own thing. And whenever I would be on break from school, I would just go down to Athens and kind of experience that and experience the music scene. I went to Indiana because I heard about the music scene there, and there was a certain type of music scene, but it was more in terms of labels developing there. Maybe not so much about there wasn't like a local band or anyone that I really gravitated toward, but the Athens music scene was so vibrant. And I graduated from school, moved to Athens for a few years and started a band, and then I moved back to Atlanta and did the band thing for a little bit, and then I moved up to Athens again in 2014, where I've been there since, and I've worked at the Georgia Theater for about 7 years, and during that time I stopped being someone who's trying to tour or have my own band. It was more so roots in Athens and focusing on the theater and trying to make that the best it can be, as well as absorbing local talent like Elijah, who worked at the theater, and Taylor, who did, he would do some running at the theater, running for those who don't know, or the person who gets hired for the show that day to go get groceries or take the rock star to the hotel and back, or help the bus driver get the hotel or something. But Taylor worked at the theater. Spencer plays in Future Birds, and I grew up with a few of those guys, and a few of those guys kind of helped me make my first demos and recordings. And Spencer kind of came later in the game for Future Birds, but he and I became friends instantly, and we just kind of, talking about each other's art. Just kind of fell into place in terms of me starting to kind of, I don't think guiding is the right word, but I'm very interested in all of them and the other artists I work with as musicians and songwriters. And at the end of the day, what I care most about, I'm definitely not doing the management thing for the money, but I mean, that could be nice if that happened one day, but for the most part, I'm doing it so I can hear some good music early, and to maybe, if I have a strong opinion on how to help release something, these people are, people who want to kind of have that conversation back and forth. But that's kind of how I see, living in Athens. It started the theater, then I've left the theater now. I to focus on management and other types of production and vinyl records and some venue consulting, and been able to really kind of experience all the different facets of the music scene in Athens, I guess. And that's what kind of keeps me here and keeps me very interested, because there's a lot to do.
So let's
If
talk
that
about
answers.
let's talk about your time then at the Georgia Theater as the GM. Did you get hired immediately as the GM, or did you work your way up, or how did that process play out?
I did not work my way up. I got hired straight as the GM and got thrown in as the GM. I had some experience with the venue and the people who ran the venue prior to me working there, just as a band leader and a booker of shows. And I did help do some sponsorship raising for one of those from South by Southwest Athens in Austin event. And that was kind of my direct relationship with the theater folks. But another company purchased the venue and the business, and they're the ones who hired me to kind of go to the theater and kind of shake things up. Just kidding, I didn't shake anything up, but they hired me to go and and uh, do my thing.
So what kind of
Yeah.
staff did you have? How many staff did you have?
Well, I mean, we let me try. Let me think. It's been a minute. We had about, I think, 9 folks on salary, and then we had bartenders and security, and we had um, production. So, on the biggest nights, I would say we'd have as many, and also had a kitchen as well. So I think there was anywhere between, it was a rotating staff for security, because sometimes we'd have events where we need 18 people there for work, and then we'd have some events where we'd only need 6 people on staff. So it's kind of it rotated. And of course, you'd have a lot of students coming out. And I'm trying to think. Our Christmas parties were usually around 60 people. I want to say they're kind of around 60 people working there at the time, in and out, in all the various divisions.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot to handle, huh? So I mean, what were the challenges that you kind of faced?
Oh, for the first few years, the company was funded by it's funded by an investor group, and so it wasn't. And about 4 or 5 years into working there, AEG acquired the venue. But the first few years, it was about you know pleasing the investors, making sure, but also making sure that everyone who's working there made payroll and get through certain light times of the year. Like summer is not typically a very busy time in Athens with school being gone, and so we just find ways to be creative. Like we really put a lot into our rooftop music sessions, which turned out, a lot of the bands I manage I met through those rooftop shows, which sometimes turn out to be more important than a big sold out show downstairs, like in the main room. And it's constant stories from there. But just challenges, just making. When Marilyn Manson came through, it was a challenge. When a band showed up and there's miscommunication with the talent buyer and the band, and they were expecting a barricade, and the barricade wasn't there, and they needed a barricade. The show's not going to happen. Certain stress stuff like that, but luckily the show happened. Barricade got there 5 minutes beforehand. But I'll never forget. It was a 311 show, and everything was set up, and the barricade hadn't arrived yet. And the 311 production manager was saying, "There's not a barricade here in an hour. We're going to cancel the show." And I mean, it got there within an hour, but I'll never forget, because that would suck. I've been very embarrassing
Yeah. Yeah, they
to
would
my
have been
one
asking the
311.
they would have been asking the 411.
Yeah, yeah.
So so then
But I
after
mean, there's but challenges. I mean, every day, just kind of. The biggest challenge is there's an elevator at the Georgia Theater that doesn't work, and if it works for 2 3 days at a time and it shuts down. So it kind of, especially when you're moving, when you have barbacks try to move, liquor and beer to different levels, or if you're trying to have people who go, people trying to exit, people who don't like taking the stairs, the elevator thing becomes a huge nightmare. But fun challenges of working in an old music venue.
Yeah. And what was the capacity there?
Technically 1,028 at the time.
So on a busy week, how many shows were you guys doing at your peak?
I mean, we would do on a busy week. We were closed on Sundays, but we would do six shows a week
Wow.
if that's how the cards fell. We'd have shows where we'd only have one or two shows a week. We'd have shows where we'd have six shows a week and rooftop shows before and after. We try to have as many events happening as possible. And Saturday night after the show downstairs, we'd have late night either late night rock shows or DJ dance parties and stuff like that.
So now that you're out of that for a little while now, what is the one thing that you miss about being that, in that position and being in that theater?
Oh, I don't know. I took the stairs a lot, so I got a lot more natural exercise than I'm getting now.
Yeah. Better for the
It
heart.
kept me, yeah, it kept me in more shape. I would say.
Gotcha. So while you're the GM though, you're writing music at this point or not right, not yet?
When I was a GM, I guess I had my band, the District Attorneys. That
Okay.
was a band years prior, and then I had a one-off project called Party Dolls, and then I made a record under the name Purses while I was at the theater, and then I guess 2 or 3 years in the theater, I just started releasing music under my own name. So yeah, I've been releasing music every few years, whether it's under and now I just kind of release music under my own name or the bands I play in.
And was that a conscious choice to release music under your name, or did you have like other band names in mind?
Um, you know, I just I definitely didn't. I think even in the theater pre-marriage, pre-child world, even at that time of just release music under my own name, really not looking to put like a band together and start a band thing and go on the road and try and make a band thing happen. I do like the idea of exploring where I go as a songwriter and just releasing what I feel like. And I do like recording. I do like the art of recording. I do appreciate where I was when I started learning about recording to where I am now, and feel that I'm still learning and improving. So that's it's under my name because it's really just about my own process and progress as a songwriter and record maker.
It's like a musical diary almost, right?
Yeah, and then I don't play that many shows. I don't play too many shows, and when I do, I'll just play them solo, or I'll play one or two with my band. Because I have Elijah plays in my band, and Tommy, who produces Elijah's stuff and plays in Elijah's band and plays in Hefner, is in my band, as is Elijah's brother Gideon, who plays in Hotel Fiction and the Pink Stones and Elijah's band and every band. So I really only like playing with them as my backing band these days. So
Yeah,
it makes this, and when they're always so busy. So for me, I mean, if they can't do it, then I don't care. Then I'm not going to do it, or I'll just go play solo. But I really only like playing with like my guys, or I don't need to play at all. At least for my tunes, at least.
sure.
Because I'm always kind of recording or always kind of planning to release something every few months, or or at least for now, feel like there's some recording, a lot of releasing, feeling active enough for me. I don't need to do 50 dates a year to feel like I'm scratching that itch or anything.
Sure. So did you start playing the guitar first, the piano first, and then when you do write songs currently, are you more lyrics first and then music, or are you usually music first, then lyrics?
I started playing guitar first, and then I learned piano chords, and I've just been fumbling around on the piano long enough to be able to make my way um, through the piano. I prefer playing piano, but I'm better at guitar,
Mhm.
and when I write, it's usually different every time. But I usually just come up with a melody in my head and then kind of maybe start forming some words around it. But and then once it kind of feels like something, then I'll go sit at whatever instrument's calling. But sometimes I might just be playing guitar and piano and just write all the music first and just kind of record the music and then just take a walk and then write words to it. Or sometimes it's all happening at one time, the words and the music, and the melody all happening from beginning to end. Or sometimes it's, I have this ending part and need to write something forward to get to the ending part, or I just have a bunch of parts and there's no real. I mean, my favorite ones are the ones where you just sit down and you write it, in 5 minutes. Or those are the ones when they work, are really nice. But yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess let's talk about then. You have been to South by. Have you played South by before?
I have. The district attorneys played there. They went there twice, but they weren't. I guess we weren't official artists at South by. We just played unofficial parties, and then since about 2014, I've consistently um, been a part of a group that puts on the Athens and Austin parties. So I'm always there every year. And the last few years, it's become an official showcase. And I played a few sets playing guitar in Elijah's band or playing in Spencer's band. But for the most part, me and South by, it's more of a work thing than a my own music sort of thing.
So, what does it take for a showcase to become official?
It's Well, the way it happened for us, at least, we had been doing it at Sidebar, this unofficial day party, for years,
Yeah.
and it got pretty good coverage. And we have really cool bands, and we had that band Krungbin, who are massive now, but when we had them, they weren't. I mean, no one really knew who they were, but we'd have cool stuff like that, that would break the next year or whatever, and we'd have good coverage. And I think Rolling Stones did something, or at least there's a photo from the party. And but we'd have. We eventually got invited by the official, like by actual South by Southwest, to participate and have our own showcase. And and since it's been grandfathered in year after year, essentially.
And then,
So every year, yes, go ahead.
no, I'm sorry. What do you get to then kind of pick the venue then, or do they kind of give you the venue?
Yes and no. They'll give you like what's the day you want to do your party? Here are the venues that are available, and then based around popularity and relevancy, like everyone wants to do the Mohawk, but can't just do the Mohawk just because you want to do it. Like you have to be worthy of the Mohawk type thing.
Gotcha. So,
So you kind of you work with a South by rep, who kind of goes through what's available, and then you get the venue and the invitation for free, but and you can invite artists to play, but also if you had a budget, then you can invite you know someone who Leon Bridges to play your showcase party if you pay Leon Bridges, but Leon Bridges wants to get paid to play, and then um, so ours is not super. We don't have like a huge budget or anything, but luckily we focus mainly on Athens artists or Georgia artists to kind of give them a spotlight, and these artists are already touring out there. So we just try to raise enough money to justify getting everyone out there, and hopefully some gas money for the bands, and showing everyone a good time and being able to get the word out. So when these artists kind of play the showcase, they're not playing to two people. Hopefully they're playing to a room of of future fans and industry professionals who are excited to like learn about these bands.
Yeah, I mean, this was my sixth year going this past year, and I I just it's by far one of the best cities in the world. It's by far one of the best music festivals in the world. And like that combination is really, really tantalizing. Like I say, like I'm gonna do something else next year, but I always come back to it. So, talk
Yeah,
about that. What is it about South by that makes it special?
it's just I always love hearing about new bands, and I the last few years I haven't done it the way I used to. Being a dad and everything, now I'm just going for like maybe 2 nights at most, and usually just kind of just getting there, getting situated, and then it's a marathon getting through our party because we've done years where we've done a day party and right into a night party all on the same day, and it used to be I would get there on Tuesday and I would leave on Sunday, and that was great. Fanny pack and staring at my cell phone and just walking all around and checking out these bands and making sure I see Beth Coast play 4 times or something, and then also make sure to check out the bands I never heard about. And it's just very. I love having the pamphlet and crossing that out and seeing who else playing and using the badge and everything. But yeah, it's been more of a quick trip for me the last few years.
Yeah. I have been disappointed though. The Auditorium Shores shows have not been good the past like 3 years. Like I saw
No,
Jim James there, I saw the Flaming Lips there, like they did a whole Jimi Hendrix tribute the one year. Like they did some really like great bands. The Deftones played, Phanogram played.
mm.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
I think the beginning. Hopefully it'll grow. I actually went to Hopscotch for the first time this year. Hopscotch Festival a few weeks ago. That was really nice. Because really all my main experience with like festival conferences was South by, and South by's great. Hopscotch was really cool though.
Where is Hopscotch at?
It's in Raleigh, North Carolina. They
Oh,
had like St. Vincent and Jay Lenderman and Waxahachie and a bunch of other like big headliners, and then a few the Pink Stones who I manage and Fancy Gap who I manage both play there, so I went up to catch them and playing a showcase with Ryan Davis and the Roadhouse Band. That was really cool.
okay.
Ryan Davis is going on tour with MJ Lenderman for their big tour coming out soon.
How was the vibe then at the festival then? Like comparable?
It was, I mean, it was great. I drove in. It was like a 5 hour drive though, but yeah, it was great. And you just kind of walk around. It's a nice town. Never been to that city before, so it was cool to kind of walk around. I'm excited to go back for sure.
Yeah,
Really cool festival.
cool. Um, so let's talk about you manage then how many total bands?
Somewhere about 7 plus. Brave Baby, Trash Panda, Pink Stones, Hefner, Well Kept, Spencer Thomas, Elijah Johnston. Of course, I'm Tito Stone.
Yeah.
My shit. Trying to think if I leave anyone out. I'm sorry.
No, I think that's wow. So
And Fancy Gap, who I mentioned earlier. Fancy Gap used to be the Love Language, who are on Merge Records. It's their new band, but the Fancy Gap are a newer band that I'm managing, and they're amazing too.
okay. So let's talk about the connection with the drummer from Manchester Orchestra and Super Canoe.
Yeah. During the pandemic times, started a video production overall like music production management company with Tim Berry, who's the drummer in Manchester Orchestra, and our videographer partner Stephen Payne, and we formed Super Canoe. I guess almost 4 years ago, and we do various projects on that. Whether it's we're filming, we're working on a Hefner-focused documentary project. We do all of Hefner's music videos. We do a bunch of videos for Manchester Orchestra, and we've done some live recordings for them, some live work for Coin, um, and then we do a lot of what we just did a Randall Bramblett music video. We do we do music videos, and then we'll work on especially film projects, and we'll do all types of film production projects, and then we will also do just typical just standard music production projects as well. But that's me, Steven, and Tim.
So you guys did their EP, the YouTube video that was like 23 or 28 minutes that went with the EP, each song.
You're talking about the Black Mile to the Surface.
The one after that with oh gosh darn it, I should know this. Okay. But yeah, it was freaking amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And then the live video of them doing a Black Mile to the Surface, like where they're in the round.
Yeah, the Echo Mountain
Yes,
video.
correct.
Yeah. Our team did that, and actually Reagan, the lead singer of Hefner, was one of the art directors for that shoot as well.
It's amazing. I mean, well done. So good.
Thank you.
Uh, the Valley of Vision, that EP.
That's not us. That was visuals by someone else. We do more of their just like live stuff.
Okay.
We film their stuffing projects. They do that stuffing festival a good bit, and then their Patreon and some live photo work.
So is Andy like as nice of a guy as I think he probably is?
They're all very, 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 very nice people.
Yeah.
They have a really good family unit amongst them, and got to know them a little bit through some various projects. I obviously know Tim. Tim's become like a brother to me over the last few years. So they're great people, and they're great infrastructure, and their management's really great too. We do a lot of work with them on some of their vinyl side of things.
Yeah, still one of the best concerts that I've ever been to in my entire life is they played with Cage the Elephant and Silver Sun Pickups.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Cage the Elephant got that Oasis support
Yeah.
Slot today, or got that announcement today. But Cage the Elephant, Nick from that band, Nick Bar, his wife, Katie Schechter, is a good musician, and she played our South by party one year.
Yeah, she used to be in the
She's
Head
got
Heart, right?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I feel like I would know that, but Katie Schechter, she's got like a solo record too that's really good.
Okay. Yeah, that name sounds familiar. When did she play South by?
I don't know,
Okay.
but sometime between 2014 and 2020 for
Okay.
sure.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Okay. Um, so Manchester Orchestra. So what projects then do you have like with Super Canoe then that you can talk about now?
Um, we just released that Randall Bramblett music video. We're constantly working on music videos for some local clients, like this artist named Desmond Myers, who's great, and sure we'll be working on something for Elijah's new record, and we just finished working on this video project for Hefner. Just kind of working on some stuff as they start prepping their new record that they're recording. But we're just kind of, we're taking on nothing too like crazy exciting or the horizon. We're just constantly working as much as possible.
Right. Can you talk about the sound and direction of both of these upcoming albums?
Oh, for Hefner? And
For Hefner
Elijah,
and for Elijah. Yeah, absolutely.
Hefner is focusing on this record, and I have not yet listened to the Taylor episode with you, so maybe he's said something similar. But it's they're really, they're amazing live band, and they're amazing songwriters, and their albums, first three albums, are all incredible, and I'm their biggest fan. This new record of theirs is really focused on how the six of them perform as a live unit instead of like they were focused on getting like the definition of classic rock. Not it does not sound old or anything, but just like nail like orchestrating these. They'll do overdubs and stuff, but a lot of it, the album is as live as it can kind of be in the studio. And you have six people in the band, but they're all playing these very important parts to the song. And it's not just a bunch of fluff. They've had three recording sessions there. I think they've recorded 10 or 11 songs already. I think they're recording two or three more and then going to start mixing it. But I think it's definitely their biggest statement as a band. And then, for Elijah, I play in Elijah's band and and especially on this record, a part of the process of making that record. So I'm definitely, maybe a little too close to it. But I think it's his best record. I think it's his best collection of songs, and I'm really excited about some of these songs sound like just complete new direction for him, and really excited. Struggling to decide what songs should be the singles, whatever that even means today. But because they're all, I'm really proud of him, and what Elijah, really proud of Elijah and what the four of us, Tommy, Gideon, and I, kind of like do together, and seeing how like what we've all learned over the years together, working on each other's records and other records over the years, and like knowing that Elijah's last record was, good relationship with our label. That was his first record. This is a follow up to that record. So like really feeling really confident in our spaces in terms of having a team behind us, people encouraging us, knowing that they really believe in what we're doing, and so it doesn't. Sometimes when you're making music, you're kind of just like, what the fuck are we doing? Or it's just we're just making music and like no one cares, or it's just we're just flouting our own ego or something. And sure, still that's still happening, but it feels that much better when like you have a team behind you like eager to hear about it, and wanting to like get as soon as they can so they can plan on how to best get it out to people. And that doesn't seem like something that, that's not something that's guaranteed to anyone who picks up a guitar and wants to write a song. So it's very exciting to be like in that moment, like making something that is part of a bigger machine, I guess.
So you
So
kind of
very excited. The weight of the world lies on this new Elijah Johnson record for sure.
I fully believe that. So what is your take on, kind of, I guess this mentality now that Spotify and these streaming services have kind of created where, it's all kind of single driven now and albums are kind of like a lost art. Like, what's your take on that as a manager and then also as an artist themselves?
Well, I kind of, as a manager and artist, I kind of do the exact opposite. Like, definitely don't practice what I preach. I don't necessarily do what I believe in terms of, for me, well, and, I see it all many different ways. For me, I just do what's easiest for me. And right now it's releasing a single whenever I feel like it and not promoting it and not like doing the whole lead up campaign meta ad stuff, and like I'll take a picture, I'll get single artwork, and then I'm just going to release it, and if people want to listen to it, great, and if they don't, that's awesome too. But that's me, who's just trying to do something and feel something without it, you know feeling cheap.
Yeah.
um, but with the bands that manage, it is a business. I'm in it for the art. Obviously, the only reason why we're trying to make money in this thing is so we can make the art we want to without any sort of restrictions or having to go. It would be a luxury to wake up and only have to go create. And that's not something that any of us can do just now. And it would probably take a long time to get to that point. But with the artists I do try to look at like, hey, trying to package this thing like after you are a band, you're a brand. Like it is important for y'all to do TikTok and Instagram and make the fun videos and stuff that doesn't feel really natural. Because what feels real natural to everyone is writing songs and then and outdoing yourself that way and outdoing yourself in the studio and getting better as a writer and a performer. Obviously, I have an appreciation and a love for the visual side of things and really enjoy it when it's done correctly.
Right.
And especially with Elijah and Pinkston, and I think every artist I work with has a really great visual aesthetic. I'm not necessarily good at that, and I should clarify with the Super Canoe stuff. I'm not, I might do some directing or be in the editing room, but I'm not a designer. I'm definitely not a videographer. I'm more of a I'm more of a producer than anything else as far as the film production world goes. Not as much of a creative, but I'm constantly yelling at the bands that I work with, saying you got to do more posting and TikTok stuff, and we need to put money into some meta ads. Elijah's playing with this band called the French Cassettes
Yeah.
on tomorrow, which will be Tuesday in Atlanta, and they're probably like the first band that I've never heard of ever before, that I just kind of happened to stumble across from on Instagram, just like through an ad. And obviously they targeted me properly, but also I clicked on it because the quality of the visual was so appealing. And it just looked like, hey, I bet I'd like this music just based on what I'm looking at, and I did. And that's a way to break through and make a genuine connection, because the Spotify stuff, like I don't know how people listen to Spotify. I know what I want to listen to when I look for it, and or that's just usually it. I don't really get stuff recommended to me, even though I do feel like I know a lot about new music all the time. I'm always kind of looking for that. But Spotify, everyone's excited about how many numbers or the streams and stuff, and the likes on Instagram and everything, and it's all super important. But then also people kind of get lost in the Spotify aspect of it, because there are plenty of bands who have millions of streams of Spotify who can't sell 10 tickets in their hometown. So it's it's best to not get too bogged down in the Spotify things if you're not going to touch the other aspects of the field.
Yeah. So what do you feel like is some of the biggest challenges right now for the industry itself being a band,
I mean, to be a
outside of
successful
financial.
band.
Yeah,
Well,
outside
yeah,
of financial.
I mean, financial. That's the difference between a band that can say yes to going on the road, like on a decent tour or cool looking tour, where they're maybe getting, it's five of them, and they're maybe getting $200 a night, which is not sustainable, and you can't say yes to it. Plus the travel to get there, and a band that can say yes to that and can like afford to play the long game. So like with Hefner and Pink Stones and all the bands, we try to get creative and try and we're in Athens and we try to get as many. We don't get too many. I would love to get more on us. I think there used to be kind of a stigma on it, but getting as many like fraternity shows. If a fraternity wants to pay stupid money for one of these bands to play their party, and the band can take that money and be on the road. Hefner did 2 weeks going to New York and to South by, and we were able to pay for that because we had a back-to-back fraternity show, one in Athens and one in like South Carolina in the same day. But just that one, and both shows were like 2 hour sets, and it was just kind of a marathon day for the band. But because of that, they could survive on the road for 2 weeks, and pay for gas, pay for lodge, van rental, and make sure that everyone who took off their day jobs like made a little money too. And those things like that that kind of keep the band going. So that's kind of my focus is trying to find those opportunities for them whilst hopefully encouraging them to Hefner, while it's always been financial, while it's always been, we can't say yes to every single thing that comes about, but the band hasn't had to suffer in terms of releasing material. No one would ever accuse them of being slouches, even though we are constantly trying to make it work and finding ways to utilize favors and stuff. But it's something it's just something you can't sleep on.
Right. So let's talk about the venues themselves. Other than the Georgia Theater, the 40 Watt is one of the most iconic venues in the entire country. Talk about your relationship with that club.
Oh, I love the 40Y. I played there with my old band. As a solo artist, I've gotten to open up for Matthew Sweet there, which was super cool.
Hell yeah.
And another band might played with the Wigs there a few times, and I'm lucky to say that I played at that venue in my own band countless times, and in other people's bands countless times. Like I very much have a very it's definitely part of me. And of my musical DNA, and I learned a lot just from playing, just playing that. Also going just as a patron, going there and learning how to maybe drink less after going to some drive-by trucker shows or something, and not doing it properly. But now I go and it's just one drink maybe.
So for someone who's never been there before, like do your best to kind of describe that place.
Mm. It's got like kind of a purplish vibe, like a purplish color. Maybe it's a little more red. Maybe people say it's more red, but it's just this big black room with this kind of like purplish reddish like hue throughout the entire like stage area around the curtain. And you got bar to the left, you got bar to the right, and there's this big floor space. And I think the legal capacity is probably 550 or 600, but they've definitely oversold that before. And you'll have super packed nights, and what's cool about that place, which you can't do at the Georgia Theater, is that you can go in and you can leave, you can come back. So if you want to take a break and go to Flickr next door and get a drink there, you can, which is kind of especially for a multi-band bill, it's kind of fun to be able to do that. It's very walkable, but it's all like you walk around the venue and you know it's just you got a stage and the main floor. There's nowhere else to go. I've seen some really really great shows there. I've seen Johnny Marr there at Georgia Theater put on that show. Also put on Interpol there, and I remember seeing, this is before I even worked in music venues. I remember seeing Arctic Monkeys there. That was a great show, and seen Jay Mascis solo there. I've seen Patton Oswalt do stand up comedy there, and that I've been to plenty of stand up comedy shows there. And that's one of the venues where the stand up comedy, like the audience is standing. I mean, there's some seats, but like you just go and you stand along with it. It's a cool spot. It's awesome.
That's cool. So Arctic Monkeys, you would have saw them what, circa what year?
It was when he was dating Alexa Chung. She was there, but it must have been maybe Humbug.
Okay. Yeah, we
Probably.
we saw them in 2013, I guess. And I wasn't that impressed. We were a little disappointed, like in their live show. They
Oh,
didn't seem
they're
really into it.
well. Yeah, I give them another chance. I've seen them a few times. They're fantastic.
They're good. Okay. All right. So let's talk about
Yeah,
that other British band that we both have a fondness for. That
yeah.
is, they're going to break our hearts. I know it because they only announced 5 dates for the entire North America.
Well,
But
hopefully they're playing on due to incredible demand and doubling them.
Yeah, I mean that's what they did with Europe, so hopefully
Yeah.
that's what they do. But yeah. When did you start getting into Oasis, and was it a song or was it an album or what was it?
Well, to the poster on your wall, the Dave Matthews poster, that was kind of a lot of my friends and their older siblings, like where you would go in high school. You just go to like string cheese incident, a bunch of jam band stuff, and I didn't really like any of that. And then, but there was Dave Matthews, and he was technically part of the jam band thing, but his thing was still more like more of a songwriter. There was still some Paul Simon to it. There was some pop element to it, and so I gravitated to that and learned how to play. Just learn how to play the guitar through him, and then but didn't really. I knew I liked playing music, but I really couldn't really didn't really think about writing songs. The idea of writing songs didn't really make sense to me. And then I started listening to Oasis, and I knew a few of the hit singles and stuff, and it didn't really like grab me immediately. But it was the album Heathen Chemistry that I listened to that kind of that got me thinking that there were more to them than just like Champagne Supernova. And then I got that B-sides record, The Master Plan, and that's when they became like my favorite band because I realized this, at the end of the day, it's these songs, whether it's Noel playing them acoustic by himself or it's this full band doing this loud version of it. It's just the song is there. It's sorry, hold on a second. I'm gonna make sure that my phone doesn't die on
Yeah,
us.
fine.
Sorry, stand by. But no, realizing that those songs were, they could be done just by one man in front of a crowd, just singing them just like a sea shanty, or it could be done with this massive rock band mess. And that was what was really cool to me. Like they would have songs that would have like a Burt Bacharach feel to it, or songs that just sound like the Sex Pistols and everything in between.
Their songs were just anthems. Like like it really is a testament to how great of a band they are.
Absolutely. Hey, give me 1 second. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, of course. The power of technology. You look like you're in a music video. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay. I'm back now.
Like you're running from an intruder in your house.
Yeah, I just don't want my wife to see me and judge me.
Oh, I gotcha.
Judge me for talking about myself.
So, is she in the music business as well, or is she far from it?
She is far from it, but she is a fan and she has, I think, good taste.
Okay. So, you do guys like to go to shows together, or is that more of a solo thing for you?
Um, we like to go to shows together, but I definitely go out a lot. I'm definitely more interested, or I'll go out more, especially for the shows that I might be working or with people that I'm working with. She doesn't go to every show, and then especially during the week, we'll be, someone needs to stay home with the child. So the shows that she goes to are the ones where I'm like, hey, trust me, you gotta go to this one or something like that. There's usually She's not usually looking for concerts to go to by herself. That's our thing for sure. But yeah, yeah, no, but she's a big music fan.
Yeah. So I guess with Atlanta being so close, but not really having that great of venues other than the Fox Theater, or am I missing out on that? Like, do people mostly
No,
gravitate to Athens then for shows?
no. In Atlanta, you got Fox Theater, Variety Playhouse, the Tabernacle, which is where I've seen Noel Gallagher a few times, and where I saw Oasis play on the Heathen Chemistry tour with Soundtrack of Our Lives opening.
Okay.
Tabernacle is a legendary venue. Theater is great. The
Right.
Earl is a fantastic venue, 300 capacity venue. Terminal West is a great venue. That's where my Oasis tribute band and my original band will be playing in December. No, there's some great stuff there.
Okay. So yeah, so then Atlanta obviously can hold their own with music venues.
Oh yeah, and you know, Athens is a small town. Before there's some really cool, really small venues, but for the most part, it's you know the Athens music scene. It's 40 watt Georgia Theater type thing.
Right. So have you in your like obviously in your experience then, is it hard to get into the Atlanta scene like being an Athens band, or is it just kind of,
No,
you
I
know?
feel like you know, depending. No, I don't think so. Especially when you got the East Atlanta crew. Um, that's kind of like your mix between Atlanta and Athens is the East Atlanta crew where venues like 529 and the Earl, where a lot of Athens bands play. And a lot of land bands go up and play 41 and Flicker as well.
Okay. All right. So there is, you are getting some crosstown then, like love.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So being in the Indiana Hoosier, man, like what didn't you like about that campus, or what like, because you kind of talked about that, but we didn't really kind of dive into that too much.
Oh, I love that campus.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm a huge fan of it. I wasn't big wasn't really paying attention to the games, I guess, but I love the area. I
Oh,
loved, it's kind of like Athens but flatter, if that makes any sense for anyone who's been to either place. It's it's very walkable, but it's a long area, and then of course you get all the seasons. But I live next to the Bluebird, which is kind of a legendary venue in Bloomington, and I've seen many cool shows there. I saw Avett Brothers when they were first starting before they kind of maybe lost the plot, and then Nickel Creek when they were on their first farewell tour, and Dinosaur Jr., um, Grizzly Bear, some great stuff during the time in Indiana. Indiana was great. It was definitely a place for me to kind of just do my own thing, though.
yeah, it's a state that I've not been to. I can't cross that one off my bucket list yet. So let's talk about another band then. Well, so Oasis, like first of all, um, if for our audience that doesn't know, they are finally getting back together after 15 years, correct? 15 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They announced a European tour. They just today announced a North American tour. Are you trying for New York? Are you trying for Chicago? What are you going to try for?
I'm gonna try for both of those, but for the pre-sale thing, I tried for New York because I think my wife would go to New York, and but I'm hoping that maybe some of my friends who are going for the Chicago ones will save one for me, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it'll never happen. I've seen them twice, and I've seen Dogg a bunch. It's okay. I'll be okay. I'm just telling myself that I'll be okay either way
That's
or
kind
not.
of my approach as well. Yeah. By the way, I agree with you, or I don't know if you will agree with this, but of the two of them with their solo careers, Noel has been much more prolific, and I think I've
Oh
enjoyed
yeah.
more of his solo stuff than I have of Liam's. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, yeah. I think they're both. I think Liam. I think they both kind of stay on their side of their street. Noel's an artist who was kind of exploring at least what he gets bored with stuff and he tries new things. And Liam is kind of meat and potatoes wants to do the rock and roll stuff thing. I think Liam's stuff is really good. It's way better than it has to be. Liam's stuff, and then Noel's stuff is just like I think just him just kind of continuing his trajectory of being a good songwriter, producer, and artist.
Yeah. No, I think that's a fair way to say it. So you for the eighth year, this is the eighth year you've done it, or you're going to do it?
What? Oh, what the
The
Broasis stuff?
Broasis. Yeah.
This is our 10 or we've been doing this for 10 years.
Oh,
I
this
don't
is
think we haven't done. Yeah, I think we've done about a little over 10, maybe around 10 shows in the last 10 years. And we're going to do a few more. We're going to do this one in December. I think we're going to play at this Halloween festival in Athens called the Wild Rumpus. We're going to play on October 26th for that. And yeah, I mean, the singer, the guy who does the Liam in our band, he was the drummer of my first band, the District Attorneys, and he just had his second kid. And it takes for like it takes a few practices for us to get into a good Oasis mode and doing it well. And everyone, most of them live in Atlanta, and it's a huge ordeal. So we don't do it that often. But
Right.
we're planning on doing it this December for the 30-year anniversary. Definitely, maybe that's happens to be around the time where they announce they're getting back together. So there seems to be. It used to be like I'm just the one who's super nerded out about Oasis, and now it seems like every single Oasis fan is out there anyway. So now it seems like there is a luckily more bigger spotlight on the band than there has ever been. So it seems like people are really enjoying them, which is super fun. And the Oasis thing is a super silly thing to do that we take seriously.
So yeah, so I mean, was this your brainchild? Like, was this like
Yeah,
over drinks? Like, how did this happen?
no, that band, that one off album I did called Party Dolls. We
Yep.
were releasing that record, and we were putting together a release show for it, and I wanted to make sure that people would be there, so we decided to put the Party Dolls set like in the middle, like no, we were doing like an Oasis tribute band, and then had the Party Dolls open up for that. So it kind of guaranteed people would be there because people were there because they're excited to see an Oasis tribute band. And then maybe some people there for my stuff, or hopefully people who were just there for the Oasis thing saw some new music they liked. But the goal was to just have my original band play to the packed room, and also have some fun and just play a lot of music. And that's kind of been so for the most part with Oasis. Whenever we do it, I make sure that my original band's opening, just so it's a little, eat your vegetables with your dessert sort of thing
So is
for the
there any
audience.
Oasis song that you won't play?
Not me. The other guys in the band get like really snippy about stuff, but I'm trying to think what song. Well, we won't we're never going to play Importance of Being Idle because I can't sing that high, and I do all the middle stuff. And we're never going to do. I'm trying to think. I mean, we're never going to do. I mean, we're never going to really do anything from Dig Out Your Soul or something, which would be cool. I would love to do like Waiting on the Rapture, but that's a bit too,
Child Enlightenment's a great
there
song.
were so, there's so many songs that we have to play. Like, I don't really want to play Live Forever or Champagne Supernova. We could squeeze in so many other songs, but you got to play those songs.
Right.
And they're great songs, but I'd rather play Gas Panic or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Or fucking in the
or
bushes.
or fade away. We always walk out to fucking in the
Hell yeah,
bushes,
you should.
and last year we did Master Plan, which was awesome.
Oh,
But
nice.
we're probably gonna, and we do I do the Noel stuff, so I think I sing like 3 or 4 songs throughout. So I have to choose the right ones, but we always do Half the World Away because that's my favorite song.
Do you do Talk Tonight?
We're going to this year.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a good song.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, everyone in the band doesn't like to do Slide Away except for me and the guitarist, and we're like, oh, it's so long. It's like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Just trust me, this is the best song. You gotta play. We do. It's
that's
great.
awesome. Yeah, that's so cool. So tickets are selling well?
Yeah, I mean it's the end of December. We've already sold like close to 75 tickets, and it's usually I don't understand. I would never buy a cover band show ticket months in advance. So they're usually super fun, and knock on wood, every Atlanta show has been very well attended and super fun. So hopefully this year won't be any different.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to talk about your mindset when you release Somewhere Sideways, Same as You. First of all, I love the album title, first of all. Um,
Thank you.
but yeah, talk about that inspiration for that album and like the
Um,
process.
yeah, the I mentioned Elijah, Gideon, and Tommy. Elijah worked with me at the theater, and Tommy played in a bunch of bands that, because of the theater, got to know him. And at the time, Elijah's brother Gideon, who was probably the most tour experienced of all of us at this point, he was 16 at the time. This was around 2020, or near the end, like, maybe around November 2020. I'd
Okay.
already recorded a record um, called Problematic for the People. I hadn't released it yet, but that was all done. And I was working on the art materials for it. And then during that time, I really wasn't planning on. In fact, I was hoping that, or planning on that Problematic for the People records being my last record, and just kind of being done with, like, recording music or chasing that or wasting such time on such foolish things. And then, you know, Tommy has a home studio, a Rose song, and brought over, texted Tommy and Elijah, was like, "What, y'all want to just record a song for fun?" And they're like, "Sure." Elijah said, and didn't know who was going to play drums, and Elijah was like, "My brother's going to come over," and I hadn't met Gideon yet. That's how we met, and we recorded the first track off that record, called "Not If But When." And had a good day with that, and then just decided to do it again. And after about 3 or 4 days in a row, not in a row, but like, we probably did this 4 times within a span of 2 or 3 weeks. And we're like, okay, well, this is awesome. So let's just make a full record of it. And the way we would do it is one song in a day. And then that first song that we did on the first day was the first song for the record. And the second song that we did is the second track on the record. So if you listen to the record in order, you'll listen to in the order in which it was written and recorded. Because no song was written prior to that. I'd always like had the songs completed before going into the studio and trying to get the drums and bass in 2 or 3 days and everything else to fit within this thing. But with Tom, Elijah, and Gideon, it was just like, okay, let's just do one song a day. And I didn't really let myself think way too ahead of it, other than the next song. And that, it was a weird time for everyone, but walking over to Tommy's house in Athens and just spending the day there and recording it too. I mean, for me, it was kind of a turning point in producing records and understand, like, capturing some magic instead of trying to, like, get everything. It felt like the budget wasn't any more expensive or less expensive than making another record. It's just more of the mindset of, making a meal out of your day instead of this song, instead of just saying, okay, let's make sure we get the guitar and bass and drums and move on, make sure we hit everything, instead of exploring what the song can be and everyone getting excited. It was kind of, not many people have heard the record. I'm still a huge fan of the record, and it was definitely a very important record for me, and something I'm very, of all the records I've made, definitely my favorite. And the reason why I haven't really made a full album since, is because it would need to, as far as the statement of an album, it would need to be better than that. And until that, and I've been formulating an idea of one, but until I've been kind of releasing singles or an EP and of songs that I really much care about. But for me to go into like album mode again, it would have to be for something that would be better than that last record, which I'm working toward, hopefully.
I mean, like hearing you say that, I mean, that seems like somebody who really kind of, has a confidence in themselves and kind of knows what they want. Is that kind of how you approach everything, or is it more just your music?
No, I definitely don't. I don't approach anything confidently, but it's more of, I'm definitely very forgiving when it comes to my own music, especially, just the mere fact of, like, if I record it, I can listen to it and enjoy it, and that's got to, you know, that there's a huge hurdle to get to that point. It's not, I usually don't like listening to the sound of my own voice or listening to, except for, there's always the constant struggle, or not struggle, constant need to try and do it anyway. So,
Mhm.
I don't know. It's what I really liked about the summer sideways sessions is that I went into the sessions without any preconceived notions. So I wasn't hung up on anything. I wasn't fixated on something. I didn't, I tricked myself into just enjoying it instead of like sitting with something and turn it into, thinking way too hard about it or ruining the experience. It happened so fast that it was just enjoyable instead of a disappointment. Because there was some, when you write a song and you're sitting on it for a minute and you have these ideas for it and you let it percolate for too long and you go in recording and it never quite matches what was the expectation. But if you go in the studio and you just finished writing the song, so you barely kind of, you hit record on your phone and you remember the demo and you're not you haven't lived with it for so long, you can just enjoy it. So it's just a fun way to kind of more of like an outer body experience, more of a getting out of my own way situation, which I've learned is the best way for me to at least enjoy what I'm doing is to kind of trick myself into being in the zone.
Yeah, I understand that. So when I say this statement, your songs are yours up until you put them out, and then they're everybody's.
Mm-hmm.
W- Does that kind of change how you look at like releasing songs, or do you not really think of it that way?
You know, I I think I think if someone wanted to listen to my music and wanted to I'll never be able to listen to my own music and get the same feeling where I listen to an artist who I don't know, or when I just hear that music for the first time. And is in you don't know what that person was thinking. You don't know what the intention was. You don't, you know, just like I'll never see myself perform live, even if I watch it on a video. Like you might just watch a recording. It's different than what happens when you go and experience something that you're not super close to.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is that the song that I wrote and recorded and decided to release was that passed my own sniff test to get it done in the first place. Because at the end of the day, and I hope people listen to it, but I'm definitely at the age and stage of releasing music where I definitely care, but I'm not. It, it's not a necessity for me. Like I have enough confidence to know if the song I'm releasing is better than the last track, or if it's. I think I think I'm confident in knowing that that I'll know when what I want to release isn't cutting. It. I don't know. I very much this later phase of me releasing music, especially since like 2020 or something. You know, I know what I'm doing as an artist because I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just trying to create the song in that moment that I think makes sense and something that you know. And also, it's just a song. It's just a song. It's just a fleeting feeling and trying to catch a cool vibe in a creative moment. So I don't know. It just luckily I have a lot of energy toward it, and I have a pretty hefty release schedule, or at least I'm constantly releasing music, so it doesn't feel burdensome. It also doesn't feel like something that I have to keep doing anyway. So I don't know. That's not really much of an answer. I'm sorry. I think I'm just rambling.
No, you're fine, man. I imagine that you're the type of person that gets more excited about other people's projects than your own. Is that correct, fair to say?
Absolutely, it's definitely I have way more fun playing in Elijah's band than I do in my own band. Even though I need both of them, or I very much require, I need to do, I like to do it all. I play keyboard in Tito's band and I love that experience. And um, yeah, and I really love being involved in the creative process with other people's art too. That stuff's really fun. But also, and I do that with Elijah. I don't, I'm not part of the creative process with Hefner or Kingston. So I mean, I sit in the studio and I love that. I get to hear the tracks. I might talk about the track list, but for those bands, I get to just be a fan and just get to kind of watch them. And I don't want to necessarily like tell them what to do because I'm really just enjoying watching them evolve as artists.
Right. Yeah, you want to stay out of their way, right?
Right. I mean, I love the Marvel stuff, and I don't know if I necessarily want to be there when they're making the movie, and then I want to enjoy the movie when I see the finished product.
Right. I fully understand that. Well, Mr. Drew Beskin, I appreciate you doing this. Thank you
Of
so
course.
much. I know with a 2-year-old, sleep is imperative, and so I
Hmm.
appreciate you staying up with me tonight.
Yeah, it must be known that this was done late at night, so if I seem extra rambly and incoherent, we'll blame it on the night.
We'll do a disclaimer before the episode.
Right.
Well, I appreciate you doing this. Super excited to hear about Elijah having a new album coming out. Hefner's album, are we going to see that before the end of the year, or is that going to be more first quarter next year?
I think Elijah and Heather's record. I think Elijah's record's probably going to come out summer of next year, and I don't know about Hefner's. I bet maybe fall of next year with hopefully some singles being released along the way early next year from both
Okay.
artists. Pink Stone's working on a new record. Me and Tito are releasing new singles on the second, which I believe
Wednesday.
is
Right.
Thursday.
Thursday.
And it's and I play in Tito's band. But this is the first time where we're trying to do this like Hall and Oates thing where we sing on each other's tracks now. So we'll see how and he's got 4 kids, so we'll see how this pop dad venture goes. And then just I hope to release it. I think I'll release another song near the end of the year, and I just you know cracking the whip on these other acts, trying to get them to keep making tunes.
Yeah. Keep the train rolling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, thank you so much for doing this. Hopefully get to see some of these bands in the Mid-Atlantic region, if not you, if not, I think Spencer said Future Birds are playing in Philly, so I think I'm going to try and go see them.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, don't miss them. They're the best.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. That new album is really good too.
Oh
Should
yeah.
be very proud of themselves.
Oh yeah. That's great.
So anyway, well, and again, if not, I will see you next year at South by, my friend.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, also don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us. That helps the bands and artists like Drew. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR, outfitters.com. Don't just wear RAR. It's our 50th episode. Thank you all so much. I've been Dogg. You've been great. This is the Music Lab podcast.